Praise God, everybody.
Praise God.
I don't know. Y'all seem like y'all kind of relaxed. Do you need to kind of like loosen up first? Shake your shoulders a little bit. Everybody on the left, shake your shoulders a little bit. Everybody on the right, clap your hands a little bit. Come on, God, let's clap. A little bit more. Louder bit. Come on, clap those more loud. All right, now y'all got that clap. Let's get a rhythm. I want y'all to. Y'all got that beat. All right. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. Brother, hallelujah. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. Hallelujah. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. Hallelujah. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. Hallelujah. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. One more time. Hallelujah. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. Hallelujah. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. Hallelujah. Yah Savior, Yah Healer, Yah Deliverer. Yes, He is. Yes, He is. Yah Savior, Yah Healer, Yah Deliverer. Yes, He is. Yes, He is. Yah Savior, Yah Healer, Yah Deliverer. Yes, He is. 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 Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. Last time. Every praise is to our God. Every word of worship and one accord. Every praise is to our God. Hallelujah. All right.
I say, y'all know we ain't got no music. I'm gonna need some more participation in that. We ain't got no piano or no drums. Y'all think y'all about to be sick? Y'all gonna make me put. All right.
You give it a break out.
Y'all come on with it, man.
All right.
What you got for us,
Let's see. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free, healed, delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free, healed, delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free, healed, delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. I think y'all got it. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free, healed, delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. Said I'm walking in victory, walking in victory, walking in victory, walking in victory, walking in victory. Got my joy back. Said I'm walking in victory, walking in victory, walking in victory, walking in victory. Got my peace back. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free, healed, delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. By the hands, y'all. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free, healed, delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. Said I'm walking in victory. 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 Got my joy back. Got my joy back. Said I'm walking in victory. 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 Got my peace back. Got my peace back. Got my joy back. Got my joy back. Got my peace back. Got my peace back. Got my hope back. Got my hope back. Got my strength back. Got my strength back. Got my joy back. Got my joy back. Got my peace back. Got my peace back. Got my hope back. Got my hope back. Got my strength back. Got my strength back. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free, healed, delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free. I've been set free. Delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. I said I'm walking. Said I'm walking in victory. I'm walking in victory. Walking in victory. I'm walking in victory. Walking in victory. Got my joy back. Got my joy back. Said I'm walking in victory. Walking in victory. I'm walking in victory. Walking in victory. I'm walking in victory. Got my peace back. Got my peace back. By the hands of the Almighty, I've been set free, healed, delivered, made complete. Now I'm walking in victory. All right, y'all. One more. I'll go. Yeah, I will go. I will go. Yeah, I will go. If Hamashiach needs somebody here in my city,
Come on, Elder Martin, let me hear one.
I will go. I will go. I will go. I will go. If my Seattle need somebody, here am I. Here am I. Here am I. Oh, yeah. Send me. I'll go where you want me to go, and I'll do what you want me to do, and I'll say what you want me to say. Here am I, I'm on my way. I'll go where you want me to, and I'll do what you want me to do, and I'll say what you want me to say.
What's that?
Here am I, I'm on my way. I'll go where you want me to go, and I'll do what you want me to do, and I'll say what you want me to say.
What's that, John?
Here am I, I'm on my way. I'll go where you want me to go, and I'll do what you want me to do, and I'll say what you want me to say. Here am I, I'm on my way. Here am I, send me. 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 I'll go where you want me to go. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll say what you want me to say. And I pray that you lead my way. Oh, I'll go where you want me to go. And I'll do what you want me to do. And I'll say what you want me to say. Hey. Here am I, I'm on my way. Here am I, send me. 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 I'll go where you want me to go. I'll do what you want me to do. I'll say what you want me to say. And I'll pray to lead my way. I'll go where you want me to go. And I'll do what you want me to do. And I'll say what you want me to say. Hey! Here am I, I'm on my way.
Now, hold on. Because we had a whole praise and worship, and I didn't see nobody stand up. All right? So check it out. I need my human beatboxes. You know what I'm saying? My human beatbox going on all the time. You know what I'm saying? Check it out. We can't have a praise and worship. We'll get up on our feet. You know what I'm saying? They ain't really praise. You know what I mean? We just sit. You know? So, you know, I just feel the need for me to stand and get those out of prayer. You can get your voice a little higher when no, not that type of people. I need that type of people. I need that type of people. All right. Y'all know when we stand up, it's only like one song that we do when we stand up. So I'm hoping y'all gonna, be into this one. Y'all ready? Now, for those of y'all that don't know, this is called Shema, right? What does Shema mean? Y'all already ain't even here. What does Shema mean? Yeah. So what is Shema Israel? All right, y'all ready? Need that. Shema Israel, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah. What are you gonna do this week with your phone? Hey God. Come on. Shema Israel, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah. Hey God, hey God. Shema Israel, Shema Israel, Yahuwah Elohim, Yahuwah. Hey God, hey God. Shema Israel, Shema Israel, Yahuwah Let's go. Hey, God, one more time, y'all. One more time. Come on. Let's go Hey, God. Hey, God. One last time, y'all. One last time. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. All right. God satisfied. No satisfaction for praise and worship without the music. Brother James. Y'all good? That boy, they still got the beat going. Yeah. Yeah. First off. First off, all glory to the maker. First off, all glory to the maker. Alright, I ain't gonna bust my rap on that. Alright, y'all, we good. We good. We good. Unless y'all want Brother Yoran to come up here now, that's a little different. What's that? Oh yeah. Let's do that. What are you talking about? Yeah. They be making me rap.
So you know you can't let the art hear nothing else, man, because he gonna make you do it. So you can't let him hear nothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot. All right, yeah. Some ridiculous in the beat. I forgot.
Hey, we better just chill this until you get this boy right. You don't know this boy there. Okay.
All right, right there. I'm ready now. All right, my bad, y'all. We got
Here we go. All right. Hallelujah. Did everything in my soul that I thought I'd do. Gave honor straight to y'all, it's all because of you. Remember days on Stratford outside the church. I really made it through some battles and did the curse. I see my sister take a ride up in that hearse. Ooh. We good for worse. I swear speaking for that long before you take your rest. You tell your people that you love them, get it off your chest. Good with words, that's my gift, young lyricist. If you don't talk about Messiah, swimming where spirit is. No airplanes, but the scripture give me a spirit again. No bugs like Goldberg, here go the spirit again. Hey, cause young dog won't feel pure again. Cause everything is 3D like the vision here. Waiting on the king, I bow, then he wipe my tears. Prayer says the righteous ways, you will get your day. And how you free to read the book and still become a slave. Messiah owned everything, and he on his way. And he got it from the Father, he could lead the way. Coming in the morning, get it was a better day. It's off the top, I ain't gotta write it. Yeah, get the flame and you know I ignite it. It's in my spirit. Yeah, it's coming from above. Girl, you got it, everybody. Israel, show me love. Everything off the top. Yeah, you know it's off the dome. Yeah, I got it out. What I really be the chrome for? Yeah, real life off the dome. Yeah, I'm home, bro. Israel, yeah, I'm trying to go home, bro. It's me, y'all, yeah, we riding every day. Hit my knees, pray to God, yeah, I need them every way. Yeah, I gotta do it, yeah, you know you hearing what I'm saying. Hallelujah, from sure I ain't beginning today. Make it rise, yeah, I'm talking about the sun. How much shit I feel my heart, yeah, it's filling me with love. Yeah, I get it from the back, then I started from the front. Gotta get up in the spirit, then I get up on the run. Oh, no, I'm writing. I ain't writing nothing. Yeah, and I ain't capping, no, I ain't fronting. I praise God every day, yeah, I get the going. Growing up off the dome, yeah, I get the flowing. Oh, yeah, that's what the song is. Hey, yeah, you're my everything. Hey, he's my everything. Say it, John, come on. Hey, what is y'all to you? Yeah, he's my everything. Hey. He's my everything. Yeah. So I'm just freestyling a lot of that song. That's not good, but on the spot stuff.
Got that vibe, bro.
I wish the brother would call me on the preparation day and say, Ron, you gonna perform. But no, he don't do that. I get here, then it's time to perform.
Be ye ready.
Be ye ready now.
you have done that journey, dog, but when you jump the ship, I'm here to teach the script. Y'all, I never need another. It take a village. We forgot how much we need each other. We always out to stop the killing, run and keep it sinners. We in this race is told our y'all to come. My love, my love, my love, my love runs deep. My love, my love. In their veins, running up the pain. Looking for a God they never see. And think it's all the game. And it ain't no contours when you down and you can't stand the rain. Fixate that dollar on that high. And somehow y'all to blame. Deep down inside, they know he's real. And it ain't just a myth. The circumstances got them thinking, man, like make me this. I know the struggle, tears are puddle, but the Father loves you. Sleep once in him, put down the sin, escape from Jacob's trouble. Lay aside your pride, don't duck and hide. You gotta face that fear. Realize that you've been traumatized. The only place is here. Inside his arms, embrace his love, but don't you let him steer. Don't try to drive, just sit and ride because my love runs deep. Hey. My love runs deep. My love, my love, my love runs deep. My love runs deep. My love, my love, my love runs deep. My love runs deep. Where you at? Where you at? My love runs deep. My love runs deep. My love runs deep. My love runs deep. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get to it.
Man. Huh? Yeah. He got his phone?
Mic check here. You can go grab it. All right, we can just wait on B. We started. All right, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Peace be unto you. Everybody on the stream. First and foremost, giving all praises to the Most High Yah.
You said it's distorted?
Mic check. All praises to the Most High Yah. On today, by way of request, we're gonna be dealing with the flesh some more. You know what I'm saying? Number one thing that'll keep you away from keeping these commandments is what? So my question to you is, how do you subdue it? How do you subdue the flesh? With the word? Word, prayer, fasting. How many of our forefathers knew the word? A lot of them. Did it help them with their flesh? So it's just knowing the word gonna get you there. Everybody in here know the word. What you say? Applying the word. Meditating on the word. I like that. Denying what? Denying the flesh. How you deny the flesh? Resist the flesh. Oh, yeah. Before we go on, my brother just brought it to my attention. We got visitors, right? You know what I'm saying? We can't get nothing started without acknowledging our visitors. You know what I'm saying? So if you would like to just introduce yourself, you know what I'm saying? Who brought you out? That'd be cool. So we can give you the proper welcome. Any new faces? Shit, couple. I ain't trying to put y'all on blast or nothing, but I'm trying to put y'all on blast or something. Yeah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let him mark. Mark. Flip that switch. Flip that switch. Flip that switch. Grab that mark. Grab that mark. Flip that switch. Switch on the receiver. Switch on the receiver. On the receiver. On the box. This box. Yep. Flip the switch. Yes, sir. Check. Thank you, brother.
Everybody doing?
Good. Shalom, brother.
My name is Trey. I came from Cleveland. My brother Anthony right here from we used to work together. I started out about a week ago. The Spirit was telling me to say bigger and search for more wisdom and understanding. So that's why I'm here today.
Hallelujah. All the way from Cleveland. Hallelujah.
My born place.
Shalom.
My name is Greg. We just finished our Sabbath Service. So
Hallelujah.
my wife's out of town this week, so we just come check y'all out.
Hallelujah. Get some more word. Hallelujah.
Shalom.
Shalom, Bob.
Brother
Shalom. Hallelujah. 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 Shabbat shalom. No doubt. Hallelujah.
A man, a few words.
What is it? Okay. Shalom. Shabbat shalom. Baptism. Yeah.
Right.
Congratulations on that.
Like only a couple weeks old.
Yeah. My brother B said y'all only a couple weeks old.
Like only a couple weeks old.
Freshly dead.
Right.
All right. Well, we want to extend our arm to each and every visitor. You're always welcome. You're amongst family. This is a family-oriented spot. Doors is always open. Phones is always on. You need to talk. We're here. We ask that y'all hold y'all questions to the end, unless it's something like, what scripture was that, or whatever, something like that. You know what I mean? But we do a Q&A after every lesson. So anything you got on your heart or your mind, let us know, and we'll get to it. Good. All right, so we was talking about subduing the flesh, right? And what was the answer, the last answer that was given? What you say, out? Resisting the flesh, denying the flesh. What you got up? Discipline. Okay? Discipline, that's key. Anything you do over and over again and you subject yourself to, right? Discipline yourself to do, it's going to be second nature, right? Anything else? Say it again. Self-control. Self-control, that's a great answer. I'm going to ask all of y'all one question. Where does self-control, discipline, sin, righteousness, where does it all start at? It start where? It start in your mind. The key to subduing your flesh is in your mind, right? Ephesians 4:22. Let's see something right there. 23. It start in your mind. The key to subduing the flesh happens well before it get in the flesh. Anything you do in the flesh has already manifested itself in your mind first. Get 1 John 2 first. Get that one first. Like my aunt brought it up to my attention. You got to look at it first. Then it enters into your mind. Then you perform it in your flesh. Right? So let's see. Let's get the 1 John joint first. 2 and 16. 1 John 2 and 16.
First John chapter 2, verse 16. For all that is in the world.
For all that is what?
In the world.
All that is in the world. So if you are the world, then you're not of who? Not of the Most High, right? So for all that is in the world is the what?
The lust of the flesh.
The lust of the what?
The lust of the flesh. The lust of the eyes.
And what else?
And the pride of life.
And the pride of life, right? So we're going to see a couple things in the scriptures that's going to show how this thing is true, right? Let's jump over to that Ephesians chapter 4, verse 23. So if you want to get away from the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, the pride of life, you got to do something first.
Ephesians chapter 4, verse 23. And be renewed in the ruach of your mind.
First, you got to be renewed where?
In the ruach of your mind.
Before you can decide that you're going to stop doing something, you have to first do what?
Be renewed in the ruach of your mind.
It come from up here. If you can't stop doing it up here, you'll never stop doing it in the flesh. Ever. Don't work like that. Everybody has a what? A what? A ruach? What else? Everybody. Physical body has a what? A head. A brain. Everything from up there trickle on down. So if you ain't renewed in the cockpit, the plane gonna keep going wherever else it was already set to. We was brought up set on going into sin. So we was brought up in. So in order for us to change courses, we gotta either change the pilot, right? Or change the coordinates, right? Haggai chapter 1, verse 7. Yeah, we in Haggai. Y'all might have to find that one. I know y'all ain't in Haggai a lot at the crib. Y'all cheating if y'all on y'all phone. Haggai 1:7.
That's a book.
Boy, in the book of Haggai. Haggai 1:7.
You know y'all got it.
So hallelujah when you got it. I got 1 and 7.
God, chapter 1 and verse 7. Thus saith Yahuwah of hosts, consider your ways.
Do what?
Consider your ways.
Who said this?
Yah.
The Most High. The first thing he say right here, he says, consider your ways. How many of y'all do that on a daily? To consider your ways. That's a major statement. What else is in that verse?
Thus saith Yahuwah, consider your ways. That's the end of that verse.
That's it. That's what he was trying to convey right there. Consider your ways. If you don't consider your ways, you'll never be able to change it. Right? And that's the problem with our people. We just do, react. We never consider the outcome. You know what I'm saying? Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3. Better. Isaiah 1:3.
Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3. The ox knoweth his owner, and the donkey his master's crib. But Israel do not know, my people do not consider.
He said, my people don't do what?
Do not consider.
My people don't even consider. You don't even take thought first. Right? Remember, everything starts in the mind. You have to be able to consider your ways. Man, I'm going off. Right? Man, this is what's going to happen to me after this. But it start where? In the mind. A pimp. Right? What does a pimp do to his worker first? Take her mind. If I can take your mind, the body gonna fall. Oh man. The boy be like, yeah, man, back in the day.
I was thinking like, how you know?
Oh, I watched the documentary. Right? But in order for him to get her to do whatever he wanted to do, he had to convince her in her mind first. Right? It don't start off, oh, you see all of this, I can get you. Well, technically, she sees the accolades that other women got, right? But for her to actually physically go and do what this man is asking her to do, he has to do something up here. Right? Programming starts where? In the mind. Right? When the powers that be want you to act a fool, they start to program you with certain things, certain music, right? My wife was, and I was watching Love and Hip Hop, right? Don't stone me. Yeah, we watched it, right? So we was watching it, and I always tell her, I say, man, this stuff is scripted. This stuff is horrible. This stuff horrible. It's scripted, right? And there was some issues going on with some people that they had squashed before this reunion, right? Again, they squashed them before this reunion started. So they got to asking probing questions, right? To bring back up those feelings from before. We already squashed it. But you asking questions to bring up stuff from before. And then on top of that, they played a video about this dude, you know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna say their name. They played a video about him, and his girl was watching of all the stuff he did all in the seasons before. Right? Now, why do y'all think they played that video for her to see? To rile her up. They in a good space. They engaged to be married. But they play this video because they want her to act a fool on them in front of this audience. Right? But they had to try to play with her mind first. Right? Because she's not going to act a fool if I don't do nothing to toy with her mind. Right? Colossians 3:17.
What do you allow to mess with your mind? Rhetorical question. On your daily walk, what do you allow to enter into and toy with your mind? What do you subject yourself to in your daily walk? If you find that, you'll find why you can't stop sinning. Colossians 3:17.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or in deed, do all in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, giving thanks to Elohim and the Father by him.
Everything that you do in your body, you're supposed to do doing what?
And whatsoever ye do in word or in deed, do all in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach.
Everything that you do, you're supposed to do in what?
In the name of Yahushua HaMashiach, giving thanks to Elohim and the Father by him.
Think about that. Everything you do, you're supposed to do and be able to give thanks to the Most High. To Mashiach and the Most High through him. So, all that stuff you allow to enter into your mind and you're going to act on certain things, can you give the Most High the praise? Because if you can't give him the praise, that means you're not being a good servant. You allowing something else to come into your mind to make you act in a way where he's not pleased. Right? And go back to what Quab had brought up with the prior lesson. What's the, Proverbs 3. Get Proverbs 3 and verse 5. Proverbs 3 and 5. Rhetorical question. Is everything that you say and do worthy to give thanks to the Most High? I see some faces. This is major. Everything, he said, whatever you do in word or in deed, give thanks to Mashiach and the Most High through him. If you can't give thanks to him in what you're doing and what you're saying, you need to rethink about what you're allowing to come out of your mouth and what you're doing. Right? Even though it may not be sin. Y'all ain't hearing me. Even though you may not be committing a sin, can you give thanks to the Most High for what you're doing? It's something to think about. Proverbs 3 and 5.
Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart, and lean not to your own understanding in all your ways.
Where do your trust start at with the Most High? With anybody. Where do your trust start at? The mind. I have to trust you, believe that I trust you to actually allow my body. Matter of fact, we had couples in here that we did the couples meeting yesterday, right? We posted some of that stuff in the inbox, right? So we did a trust fall, right? We did a trust fall with the women, you know what I'm saying? And you would not believe how hard it was for a wife to fall completely backwards to let her husband catch her. It was like pulling teeth because she couldn't fully trust in her mind that he was going to catch her. That was deep to me, right? Sister Wanda, she fell back and stepped her leg back. She ain't thinking the mother was going to catch her. She popped it. Hey! He's like, I'm right here. But it was because it was up here. Instead of trusting him to catch her, she was like, I'm going to brace myself. And we do the same thing with the Most High. When we go through our trials and our tribulations in our life, before we think to trust the Most High, the first thing you try to do is what? Get yourself up out of it. When he says, acknowledge, what he say? Read that.
Proverbs 3 and 5. Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart.
What does that word heart mean right there? Your mind.
Lip.
Your mind. Trust him with all your mind. Because if you trust him up here, what your actions going to start to do out here?
right? It's gonna follow. The body don't do nothing that the mind don't want it to do. Read.
Trust in Yahuwah with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding.
Said, don't fall to your own understanding.
Lean not into your own understanding.
You wives that was up there yesterday, that was leaning to your own understanding, trying to catch yourself. Go ahead.
In all your ways.
Do what?
In all your ways.
In how many of your ways?
All your ways.
In everything you do what?
Acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
In all your ways, acknowledge him. How hard is that to do? Very hard, kind of hard, easy. That wasn't rhetorical.
It seemed easy, but nobody do it.
Right? When you get done doing something, oh, Father, thank you, Father. Yeah, you would appreciate me on that. Or is it like, oh, I want to hide myself from the Most High right now? Right? In all your ways, acknowledge him and what?
In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
But in order for you to acknowledge him, you have to acknowledge him where? If somebody can take away your mind, they got you. Genesis 3:1. Back to the beginning. Genesis 3:1.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim had made.
What is that word subtlety? Crafty, right? Was it crafty by the way that he moved around in the garden? Could be. But when you saying somebody is crafty, what are they normally crafty in? Right? Their tongue, the way that they talk, right? Oh, you think you slick, right? Oh, you thought I wasn't gonna peep what you was trying to do, right? Read.
Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, have Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
First thing he did was ask her a question. Where do you process questions at? In the mind. Now, y'all are believers, right? What if somebody came up to you and said, is that God really real? Now, you know the Most High real, right?
Absolutely.
But have anybody asked you that question and it kind of was like, Did you think about it first? Did it hit you one time? Can you prove it?
A talking snake?
Right? That's the one. So you mean to tell me, in the beginning of y'all put, a snake came up and talked to a woman? No, but it say serpent. It say, right? Have anybody ever asked you something that was probing that automatically started the wheels in your mind to turn? That's what he did. He asked her something she already knew the answer to. This world don't come at you with stuff that's hidden. They come at you right on front. They let you know what they're doing when they're doing it. Hey, we selling you fake food. Well, I mean, then you start to reason with yourself, right? So what do you say?
Now the serpent was and in the beast of the field which Yahuwah Elohim had made, he said unto the woman, Yea, have Elohim said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden?
What did the Most High say to her?
You may freely eat from all the trees, but of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil ye shall not eat.
That's what he told her. But his question was the setup. He knew she knew the answer to this. Read.
And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim have said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it.
Is there any reason for her not to agree with what the Most High said? Is there any reason for her to question what the Most High said? No. All she knows is what he told her. Right? Read.
Lest you die.
At least you what?
Lest you die.
Read.
And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die.
Boom. What did he just do? He inserted a thought into what? Her mind. The Most High said she gonna die. But somebody else came and said, you're not gonna surely die. That's all it took was for him to plant the seed. Now the flesh gonna do the rest. If she don't renew her mind, if she don't jump back and say, no, bro, I'm not rocking with that. But what she did was she allowed it to manifest. Right? She allowed it to fester. Read.
And the serpent said unto the woman, you shall not surely die. For Elohim do know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as God, knowing good and evil.
This is new information to her. A lot of people, when they get this word, it's new information. So they go and they soak it up from whatever it come from. Hey, y'all brothers teach that, that the Messiah came out of Mary, right? Joseph ain't really, right?
Right.
Then somebody put out a lesson and say, Joseph really did get Mary pregnant. Here's how. First thing you gonna do. Let me see. Oh, bro. Man, I don't know about quality. I don't know if they teaching the right stuff. They'll study it.
You see, he says seed. The seed. See? The seed. The sperma. Sperma.
Right? Exactly. Right? And it'll blow their mind. So after 2 months of them studying it, not coming back and asking the questions they got in the first, after 2 months of them studying, oh man, I got this together. Watch this. Oh, you say the Messiah was born of Mary and not Joseph, right?
Absolutely.
See, you ain't read this scripture though, did you? Oh no, yeah, I did. Check it out. And now, what's that cognitive dissonance set in now? Right? Now you just completely rejecting what the brother is saying off the rip. No. My man said something different. It wasn't no different than what happened right here in the garden. He presented her new information and it was attractive to her. Because he planted the question in her mind first. Did he say you couldn't eat from every tree in the garden? Now, I can't trust the Most High. He kept something from me. What else would he keep from me? Right? Read.
Verse 5 again. For Elohim do know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as Yah, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food.
So now she's looking at the tree different. As if that she haven't never seen the tree before. She always see the tree. But now that the thought is planted in her mind, guess what the tree looked like? Looked like food now. Before it looked like death. I can't mess with that. Now it's like, man, that looked like a Honeycrisp apple. Know them boys is juicy. Right? Read.
And that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise.
Man, I think this tree could really make me wise. Did she have that thought before? No. Only when somebody planted it in her mind. Now she's running with it as if it's her own thought. It's no different with sin. It's no different than any immortality in the scriptures. That's the wrong word. Immorality in the scripture. I added a T on there for whatever reason. Right? You see it in the world. You don't make it subject to the thought process of Mashiach, and you allow it to fester. So even if it don't manifest itself the first time, if you see it again, it make that thought easier and easier to think about and to play out in your mind. Now you're doing it. Matthew 5:27. Matthew 5:27. What is adultery? Two married people? There's too many people doing it that ain't together. What's adultery? Somebody else. A man sleeping with another man's wife, right? Or a woman or a married woman going and sleeping with another man. It is kind of, but you got to put it on both sides so you can understand, right? Matthew 5:27.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 27. You have heard that it was said by them of old times, you shall not commit adultery. But I say unto you, that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her, have committed adultery with her already in his heart.
In his what?
In his heart.
So what is that heart again? In his mind. If you can commit it up here first, not too long after the body gonna follow. We know the example with David, right? But it's just to show that it starts up here. Every sin that a man he do it where first? In the mind, right? Genesis 6:5. Let's see what happened in the beginning of time. B, you get Ecclesiastes 9:3.
Genesis chapter 6 and verse 5. And Elohim saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every imagination of the thoughts.
Every what?
Every imagination of the thoughts.
Was what?
Of his heart was only evil continually.
So the imaginations was evil continually, which means it was where? Man was wicked is what he said. But their imaginations and their thoughts were what? Evil continually. That's the only reason why they was wicked. Because if you think wickedness, then what you gonna do? You're gonna do wickedness, right? Ecclesiastes 9:3.
Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 3. This is an evil in all that is done under the sun. There is one event to all. Truly, the hearts of the sons of men.
The who?
The hearts of the sons of men.
What's that heart again? The mind. Read.
Are filled with evil.
Are what?
Filled with evil.
Got a little evil in them.
Filled with evil.
They filled with evil. Read.
And madness is in their hearts while they live.
While they what?
While they live.
Read.
And then to be dead. And then to the dead.
So if man's mind is evil always, this is one of the most wise men that ever walked the earth, right? He said, I see it's one event to all people. And the sons of men is evil. This is why we can't change our way. Can't be renewed in the what? Spirit of your mind, right? Because the thoughts are going to make the body follow. If there's a war going on in your mind with your flesh and your spirit, whichever one wins is going to take over the body. Whichever one wins is going to take over the body, right? Matthew chapter 15, verse 18. Just thinking about it too. If a man is thinking about sleeping with another man's wife, right? What would he start to do? Meditate on it. And then do what? Then he's going to start to act on it. To act on taking somebody else's property is what? To covet. Right? One sin belly flops on another one. You're not going to just commit one and it be by itself. Right? If that man go and commit adultery, he had to covet her first, right? And if he coveted her, what sin did he commit already? Well, that's when he do it and steal it. When he does it, he commits adultery. But before that, and him thinking about it and him coveting it, what is he doing? He's lusting, but what sin did he commit? He broke another one. Nope. He put himself before the Most High.
There you go.
He broke the very first one. Because he said, acknowledge me and what? So while you coveting this man's wife, is you acknowledging the Most High? Which means you put yourself in the stead of who? You just put another God before the Most High. Right? One sin belly flop on another one. So if you out here committing sin, it's not just one. Oh, man, I only committed that one sin. I'll be straight. No. If you consider, you would think on all the other stuff you broke along the way. You get what I'm saying? So when the Most High say consider, he's actually telling you to sit back and think about what you're doing. Not just the punishment, but think about what you're doing. Right? Well, if I get this speeding ticket, I can pay the speeding ticket. That's cool. I got the 150 to take down to the office. But you didn't consider that you already got 3 points on your license. Now this time when you get this speeding ticket, they gonna take your license away. So that 150, you might as well put that with the other 800. You know what I'm saying? You didn't consider it.
Driver responsibility.
Driver's responsibility fee, $200 a year for 2 years. 250? Sheesh, 250. You know what I'm saying? Because you didn't consider the complete outcome. You didn't consider what else was happening along the way. You didn't consider that now that you don't have transportation and you can't drive to work, that you might lose your job. You didn't consider that you losing your job because you don't have the ability to drive to it, that it was going to cause your children not to eat. You didn't consider now that you can't feed your family that Child Protective Services might come in and try to take your, all because you wanted to speed and you thought that you could pay that $150 ticket. Because in your mind, that's all it was. But you didn't weigh and consider. So when you commit sin, you have to make sure you weigh and consider everything that's going on around you. 1 John 3, and they told us that he that commits sin is of the what?
Yeah.
You didn't consider that though, did you? Man, if I do this, I'm only stealing a pen, bro. It's his favorite pen, but it's only a pen. You didn't consider that made you of the devil, did you?
Something as small as that, you didn't even consider it. Right? Weigh your options. This is a lifetime commitment with this word. Lifetime. You need to consider exactly what you're doing before you get yourself into this. When you get married, when I got married, I didn't consider. Right? You have to consider the person that you with, their personal hygiene, their differences from you, how they were raised. I didn't consider that. So I had to pay for it along the way because I had to learn it. Had to bump my head. You know what I'm saying? It was friction. Because the only thing I thought about, Shalom, man, this is a beautiful woman. She's serving the Most High. I'm straight. But I didn't consider it. Right? Where I had you at?
Is that Matthew 15?
Matthew 15?
Yep, 13, I believe.
Jump over to Romans, the 7th chapter. You gotta be able to renew your mind. Consider what you're doing, renew your mind, or else your body is gonna fall in a heap of sin. You gotta be able to consider it. When you get to the height of whatever you're going through, the easiest thing to do is wallow in your flesh. It's the easy because that's all you know how to do. But if you're able to stop yourself and consider, it'll be well with you. Romans chapter 7, pick it up at the last verse. Actually, the verse before the last verse.
Romans chapter 7 and verse 24. Oh, wretched man that I am.
Oh, who?
Oh, wretched man that I am.
He considered what type of person he was. This is Paul, the Pharisee of the Pharisees, who knew the perfect manner of the law. But he said, what?
Oh, wretched man that I am.
Talking about his flesh. Read the verse before.
Verse 23. But I see another law in my members.
In my what?
In my members.
What is your members? In my body. Read.
Warring against the law of my mind.
Warring against what?
The war of my mind.
The law of my mind. What's in your mind to do? It's supposed to be the commandments. But how do something that's in your flesh war with something that's up here? Unless what's going on up here is helping it. Remember that question I asked? What are you allowing to enter into your mind on a daily basis? This is what's going to help war against the Ruach when it's come down to it. When they come down and they got to fight, whatever you've been putting into your mind is going to help it against the Ruach of the Most High. B, what was the analogy that you gave about the lifting weights with the spirit and the flesh?
Oh, that basically it's when you exercise the body and you strengthen the body as opposed to exercising your mind or your ruach, then the body has strength over the other when you spend time exercising that as opposed to the other. Right?
Yep. So basically, whatever you put in your heart to, your mind to, that's what you're going to do. So if you exercising your mind with the scriptures daily, like the scriptures say, you got kids, right? If you're teaching your children diligently when they rise up, when they go to bed, when you're sitting in the crib, if you're exercising this with your mind, guess what it's going to cause you to do yourself? Keep his commandments. But what if you allow just that part to lack? What if you allow you teaching your children the commandments to lack? For one, guess what you just did? You just broke a law. Now that's giving space for your mind to be idle for other things. All this stuff
go in with each other, right? So he said, read that verse again, verse 23.
Verse 23. But I see another law in my members, warring against the law of my mind, and bringing me into captivity to the law of sin, which is in my members. O wretched man that I am, who shall deliver me from the body of this death?
Who gonna deliver us from the body of this death? Mashiach. He sent them, right? He said that he did destroy the works of who? Of the devil. Read.
I thank Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach, our master. So then, with the mind.
With the what?
With the mind.
With the what?
With the mind.
With my mind, I do what?
I myself serve the law of Elohim, but with the flesh, the law of sin.
Which one you choosing? Are you going to choose to serve the Most High with the law of your mind? Or are you going to do it with your members? Right? Let's look at an example. Matthew 14:22. Matthew 14:22. Remember, we was talking about that trust in Yahuwah with all your heart, right? We're talking about that trust fall thing, right? To trust somebody, you got to trust them where? In your mind first. And then what's going to follow? The body. Matthew 14:22.
Matthew chapter 14, verse 22. And straightway Yahushua constrained his disciples to get into the ship and to go before him unto the other side while he sent the multitude away. And when he had sent the multitude away, he went up into a mountain apart to pray. And when the evening was come, he was there alone. But the ship was now in the midst of the sea, tossed with waves, for the wind was contrary.
So they was in the boat, ship getting tossed to and fro, right? Read.
And in the fourth watch of the night.
And what?
And in the fourth watch of the night.
This was late at night, right? Which means, what does it look like outside?
Pitch black.
The pitch black. Waves tossing to and fro. Pitch black outside. Read.
And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went unto them, walking on the sea.
He did what?
Walking on the sea.
He went to them doing what?
Walking on the sea.
So he walking on the water. Pitch black at night. What is this a picture of? What did they say? Read.
And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit.
It is a what?
It is a spirit.
It is a spirit. Oh, what you got? Get Genesis chapter 1:1.
Touch your neighbors.
So it's pitch black at night. The ship is shaking. They see him walking on the sea, and they said, man, it looked like that's a what? That's a spirit. Genesis 1:1.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. In the beginning, Elohim created the Shamayim and the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep.
They was on the what?
On the face of the sea.
Darkness was on the face of the deep. What was it outside? Dark. Pitch black. Read.
And the Ruach of Elohim moved upon the face of the waters.
Whoa. What's the face of the water? It's on top of the water. What was Mashiach doing? Scriptures being fulfilled, right? And as much as they was with him, this is something that they should have what? Considered. Let's go back to Matthew. Because now, let's see what happened. Matthew 14. What verse you at?
We at verse 25.
Verse 25.
And in the fourth watch of the night, Yahushua went unto them, walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, it is a spirit. And they cried out for fear.
For what?
for fear.
Uh-huh.
But straightway Yahushua spake unto them, saying, Be of good cheer, it is I.
It's me, y'all. Chill out. Read.
Be not afraid. And Peter answered him and said, Master, if it be you, bid me come unto you and on the water.
Peter, brave. But you know what Peter don't never do? Consider. Never considers. Peter always acts first. But you would think, I'm the one. He always acted, never considered. Read.
And he said, Come. And when Peter was come down out of the ship, he walked on the water.
So what is he doing now? He believing. Trust. Start where? The mind. Read.
He walked on the water to go to Yahushua. But when he saw the wind,
But when he what?
when he saw the wind,
Read.
boisterous, he was afraid.
He was what?
He was afraid.
When the fear set in, what left out? The faith, the trust. He allowed these winds to get into his mind and think, danger, 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 danger.
I can't swim.
We out in the middle of the sea. Read.
But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid and beginning to sink. He cried, saying, Master, save me.
Saying what?
Master, save me.
Why would he have to save him if he would have never took his eyes off him? What happens to you when your mind goes away from what he told you to put it on into something else? You gonna start to sink. And guess what you gotta cry out? Save me. When I gave you the instructions and let you know I was already there for you. You asked for this. I didn't say, Peter, come on the water. You asked for this. Read.
And immediately Yahushua stretched forth his hand and called him and said unto him, Oh, you of little faith.
You of little what?
Oh, you of little faith.
You of little faith. You ain't trust me, did you? Remember, he said, trust in the Most High with what? All your heart. So what happened after he been telling them the Gospels? Look, I got to die. You know what I'm saying? I got to get up out of here. I got to die. These people got to kill me in order for the children of Israel to be saved. They came to come and get Mashiach. What's the first thing Peter did? Cut dog ear off. Oh, no, not on my watch. But what he didn't do? Consider. Dog, you about to stop salvation for everybody. Do you weigh and consider the things that you do in your life? Can you acknowledge the Most High in everything that you do? Where is your mind at? Because if he was thinking about the overall, he would have never chopped my man ear off. He was only focused on the now. What's in my face? What my body telling me to do. Right? When the people came to him asking him, yo, you know that man? What'd he say? No, I don't know, dude, bro. I mean, I don't know. Oh, bro, you look familiar. I don't know that dude, bro. Go ahead and get up out of here with that. No, he for sure was with him. I seen him. He was the one with him when they was giving out all that bread. I don't know that mother. Get up out of my face, Hunter.
I went the worst rooster ever.
Right? Guess what he did then?
Bro.
He considered. But hadn't Mashiach been so forgiving, that could have been the last thing that man ever did. Because he didn't consider first that I just told you, you're going to deny me 3 times. That would have been on my mind like, oh, I see what y'all trying to do.
After the first one, it would have hit me.
Right.
Wait a minute. I just did it. I
After
ain't
the,
gonna do it no more.
right. Especially after the second, like, hold on. Oh
We got one left. Right? You gotta weigh and consider. Because what the world is gonna do to you, they're gonna come in and they're gonna program you. Right? And if you're not weighing and considering what they actually doing to you, you're gonna follow along with it. And I said we watch these shows and all this and that type of stuff, right? Not knowing that this stuff is putting things in you for you to do in your regular life. Right? I was talking to them at Bible study and let them know, like I used to watch these videos on the phone, and it was a series called Money and Violence. Right? So I would watch that series every day. I was like 3 seasons behind. So, I'm binge watching it every single day. Right? And you can only assume what the show is about, right? Money and violence, right? Drugs, money, violence. To the point where when I wouldn't be watching it and I hear a noise or something, I'm ducking and looking around like somebody coming for me. You know what I'm saying? I'm carrying my pistol everywhere like somebody trying to get at me. Because that's what was being filtered into my mind. But I don't sell no drugs. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got to look over my shoulder for nobody. But me watching that all the time over and over again was starting to make me feel like I was in the same life that I was watching. This is what they do. They program you. Matter of fact, Daniel chapter 1 and verse 1. Let's get an example of it. How the programming works.
Daniel chapter 1, verse 1.
Now, when this world program you with stuff, is it going to be with things that wouldn't appeal to you? When the serpent in the garden hit up Adam and Eve about what he hit them up about, was it something that didn't appeal to them? No, it was something that would actually appeal to them, right? Something that they would cleave to, right? Read.
Daniel chapter 1, verse 1. In the 3rd year of the reign of Jehoiakim, king of Judah, came Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, unto Jerusalem to besiege it. And Yahuwah gave Jehoiakim, king of Judah, into his hand with part of the vessels of the house of Elohim, which he carried into the land of Shinar.
So we in captivity, right? Under Nebuchadnezzar. Read.
To the house of his God. And he brought the vessels into the treasures house of Elohim. And the king spake unto Ashpenaz, the master of the eunuchs, that he should bring certain of the children of Israel and of the king's seed and of the princes.
So he said he wanted him to bring to him some of the king's seed, right? The princes, and who else?
The eunuchs.
The eunuchs. Read.
Children in whom was no blemish.
Children in whom was what?
No blemish.
So he said, I want you to go out, get the king's children. Why would he want to get the king's children? Okay. Their inheritance. Exactly, their status. I want the king's children. They got the status. Everybody looking at them like, that's the preacher's son. That's the preacher's kid. Right? This is the one who was next in succession. So when the king is being the king, he's prepping everybody for his son. So everybody, hey, respect my son. He the guy coming after me. Right? Read.
Verse 4. Children in whom was no blemish.
Children in whom was no what?
No blemish.
So he said, I want the ones that ain't got no what?
No blemish.
Mashiach said he coming back to get some men to fight with him that ain't got no what? No blemish, no guile in them. One that never had a...
It's not defiled with women.
Not defiled with women. There you go. Right? Read.
But well favored.
But what?
But well favored.
I want the ones that's well favored. The ones that you're going to look to. The ones that you're going to be like, yeah, him. Read.
And and skillful in all wisdom.
And what?
In all
I
wisdom.
want the ones that's skillful at everything, like the aqua saying right here, right? I want the smartest ones. Read.
And cunning in knowledge and understanding science.
They understanding what?
Science.
That's how they get you, know. Well, see, the God of the Bible is just not a scientific fact. You can't prove it. You just can't prove it. And this, and this, and this. Well, yeah, bro. I mean, it ain't according to science, bro. How can you prove that God of the Bible? Right? Read.
Understanding science and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, and to whom they might teach the learning and the tongue of the Chaldeans.
They got all of these people to teach what?
The tongue of the Chaldeans.
They wanted to teach them their language. They wanted to use them for their services. Right? Read.
And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat.
Of the what?
Of the king's meat.
Not only did he want to teach them their language, but he gave them the king's meat every day. Right? Best of the best. Now, why would he want to teach the most noble, the most known? Why would he want to teach them this stuff? They're going to have the most influence. They're going to be able to go and spit it back to the people. Now, everybody is on a regularly scheduled what? Program. Right? What's that one movie they say, well, we'll never put a nigger in office. On the contrary, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to put one of the smartest niggas they have. You put him in office, the one that got the people's hearts. That way, when we put in him our agenda, he can feed it to them. Absolutely. They wouldn't got the best of the best. You think they just did that just because? No. Same thing here. He ain't just do that just because. Go get the most handsome. Go get the most knowledgeable. Go get the king's children. Go get the ones that can stand in the court of the king, because they're trying to infiltrate your mind. I need somebody that they'll like. It's no wonder why Mashiach didn't come and look like that. It'd have been a whole lot easier for the people to believe what he was saying if he was good looking, right? How many of y'all know he wasn't good looking? How many of y'all was taught that Mashiach was good looking? From the church. Yeah, see the boys, yeah. That boy was dang near up. We'll get to that in a second. Go ahead, Up.
Verse 5. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine.
And of the wine. Read.
Which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah.
So he said that at the end of 3 years, that they was going to be able to stand amongst him. How long was he indoctrinating them? 3 years. Feeding them the best of the best. But what our book tell us about that? Oh, what you got? Get Proverbs 23 and verse 1. Because if the king just gonna bring you in and offer all of his goodness, all of his this and all of his that, you supposed to just take it? You just took me captive. They probably gonna be looking at everybody else. Oh, I'm in the king's house. No house, niggas. Right? So check out what the book says. Why they shouldn't have taken his meat in the first place.
Proverbs chapter 23 and verse 1. When thou sittest to eat with a ruler, consider diligently.
With the ruler.
When thou sittest to eat with a ruler.
With a ruler, read.
Consider diligently what is before you.
He said what?
Consider diligently what is before you.
When you going to sit with a ruler, consider diligently what's about to take place. Because he don't just have you here for no reason. Read.
And put a knife to thy throat.
He said, do what?
Put a knife to thy throat.
If what?
If thou be a man given to appetite.
If you looking at the king's meat, and you be a man given to appetite, to your desires, and you want this stuff that he got, put a knife to your throat. It's better to kill yourself now. He gonna do it anyway. But if you go, it's when you're in prison, right? I ain't never been, but I heard stories, right? When you go into prison and the dude sent a Snicker on your bed, some ramen noodles, you go in there thinking, bro, just trying to be friendly. Oh man, thanks, I appreciate it. You ain't even think, why is he being nice to me? What's gonna happen after this? It's not well. We don't have to go into detail about after that, but it's just not well. Right? So he's saying when you sit down with a ruler and he got this food in front of you, you're supposed to consider what's going on. Right? Read.
And put a knife to thy throat, if thou be a man given to appetite. Be not desirous of his dainties.
He said, do what?
Be not desirous of his dainties.
What are his dainties? What is that word?
It is tasty or savory food, delectable food, dainties.
Don't be desirous of his food. What he offering you? Read.
Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful.
They are what?
Deceitful meat.
It's deceitful. You can eat of that tree. You're not going to surely die. If they actually consider what the man was putting in front of them, maybe they wouldn't have did it. Let's go back to Daniel.
Daniel chapter 1, verse 5 again. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourishing them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Now who were them?
Meshach and Abednego.
Ah, yeah. That's what I was reading out of. Go ahead and read that out of the Hallelujah. That Daniel 1 and 5.
The book of Daniel, chapter 1 and verse 5.
Because it says that he nourishing them for 3 years. Let's see what he was actually doing.
And the sovereign appointed for them a daily ration of the sovereign's food and of the wine which he drank, and 3 years of training for them.
And what?
3 years of training for them.
3 years of training for them, read.
So that at the end thereof they should stand before the sovereign.
So he had to train them, indoctrinate them. I gotta make you me for them. Your people respect you. So I have to take away your mind first. Gotta take away your mind first. All the stuff that you knew coming in here, you might as well forget it all. All right, go ahead.
Verse 6. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah.
Who are these people?
Meshach,
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They had a name before that. But what's the name that they taught you all these years? The name is right here, and they taught you their slave name the whole time. Read.
And unto the prince of the eunuchs gave names, but he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar.
That's a psychological warfare. What's your name? Kunta. Your name, Toby. That's psychological. It started where though? Up here. Because if I can name you Toby, the people you gonna name after you is gonna be what? Toby. Toby, Toby. Toby, Toby, Toby. Right? And guess what you're gonna start doing? You're gonna start acting like the white Tobys that you see. Right? Read.
And unto them, unto the princes of the eunuchs gave names, for he gave unto Daniel the name Belteshazzar, and unto Hananiah Shadrach, and to Mishael Meshach, and to Azariah Abednego. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat.
He said he what now?
Daniel purposed in his heart.
In his what?
In his heart.
Where is that? in his mind. Even though this food was super good, he said he purposed in his heart or in his mind that what?
That he would not defile himself with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself.
Let me ask y'all a question. If y'all had this dude put ribs, and chicken, what's the macaroni and cheese dressing, all this stuff in your face and say, hey, bro, you can have this every day for 3 years. And I got the bubbly. Crab legs, lobster. Are you going to turn it down?
Absolutely.
Y'all ain't here would have turned it down with. Okay. Nobody in here would have got tricked. Nope. All right. Go ahead.
Verse 9. Now Elohim had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs. And the prince of the eunuchs said unto Daniel, I fear my master, the king, who have appointed your meat and your drink, for why should he see your face, worse likening than the children which are of your sort? Then shall ye make me endanger my head to the king. Then said Daniel to Melzar, whom the prince of the eunuchs had set over Daniel and Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, prove thy servant, I beseech thee, 10 days.
How many days?
10 days.
Uh-huh.
And let them give us post to eat and water to drink.
So when he said post to eat, what did he talk about? Vegetables. We going vegan, dog. Right? Now, check this out. Read on.
Then let your countenance be looked upon before thee, and the countenance of the children that eat of the portion of the king's meat. And as thou seest, deal with thy servant.
It's only 10 days. Now, how long is he going to be giving them this meat?
3 years.
3 years. This is only 10 days. Verse 15.
Verse 15. And at the end of 10 days, their countenance appeared fairer and fatter in flesh than all the children which did eat the portion of the king's meat.
So what is this actually saying? It was just as healthy. Right? Actually healthier. Now, 3 years of this. This was only 10 days, and they already wasn't as healthy. 10 days. Imagine what's going to happen in 3 years. They'd be dang near destroyed. Right? Read.
Thus Melzar took away the portion of their meat and the wine that they should drink, and gave them post.
So now he switched it up. Everybody get veggies. Right? Because this going to mess around and kill them if I give them this meat for 3 years. Right? But this was all purposed to get into the minds of the children of Israel. I go and get your best. Right? I give them my worst and they put it on you. Right? All in the mind. Romans chapter 8, verse 7. Romans what? 8 and 7.
Any of y'all been on the Daniel fast?
So the reason why they laughing when you say the Daniel fast, right? So I'll give you a little background. I did 40 days and 40 nights, all fruits and vegetables, right? So I lost a lot of weight, you know what I'm saying? I was feeling good. And then one of my brothers went on Facebook and said, just finished the 40-day fast. So my quad was like, whoa, y'all boys did a fast for 40 days? And he was like, yeah. Y'all boys didn't eat or drink nothing for 40 days? He was like, no, we did the Daniel fast. It's like, what's that? Like we ate fruits and vegetables for 40 days. And, once I started getting around them and kicking it with them, they bust jokes on me because they like, that ain't no fast. You want on a diet. You know what I'm saying? Because the fast means to what? Abstain. Closing of the mouth. You know what I'm saying? So that's why he, poking fun. Yeah, talking about that. Anyway, Romans chapter 8, verse 7.
Romans chapter 8, verse 7.
Yeah.
Because the carnal mind is enmity against Elohim.
It's what?
It is enmity against Elohim.
It's enmity against the Most High. What does enmity mean? An enemy, right? It's friction, right? So he said the carnal mind is enmity, which means that it has a mind of its own. This is why they can war, mind with a war of the minds, right? So a lot of times when we in here, we teach. But it's hard for you to apply this stuff in regular life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I hear the words, but how do I do it? How do I actually not commit sin when it comes down to it? How do I not lust after this woman? How do I not? Right? Because we still get those questions. How do you do it? Read what you got again?
Romans chapter 8, verse 7. Because the carnal mind is enmity against Elohim, for it is not subject to the law of Elohim.
It's what?
It is not subject to the law of Elohim.
Your flesh is not subject to the law. Remember, Paul says, with my mind, I do what?
So, yeah.
I serve the Most High. With the law of my mind, I serve the Most High. But if your flesh is not subject to the law, then what is it actually going to gender you to do? Serve the opposite. So I ask you, if with everything you did, you gave acknowledgement to the Most High, would it be easier not to commit sin? Plain, at the simplest form of it, if it came down to it, and you know you ain't supposed to lay with this woman, you know you ain't supposed to tell this lie. Before you do it, if you weigh and consider and acknowledge the Most High, would you be able to get away from it? Now, what happens if you move beyond that point? If you do it in spite of it?
Willful sin.
Now you're committing willful sin. Because you've already acknowledged the Most High before you did it. You've already acknowledged him. So how do you subdue the flesh? Gotta renew your mind. 1 Corinthians chapter 9, verse 27. We'll close off on that.
First Corinthians chapter 9, verse 27. First Corinthians chapter 9, verse 27. But I keep under my body.
Hold on. Wait. Verse 25.
First Corinthians chapter 9, verse 25. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things.
Said every man that strives for mastery is temperate in all things. What is that temperate? That has self-control.
To be self-controlled.
All right, like the ox said earlier, right? Read.
And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things.
In what?
In all things.
That is some type of control for you to be able to stop and say, can I acknowledge the Most High in what I'm about to do? That's control over yourself. It's not moving off an impulse. It's not, oh, they grabbed a Mashiach, let me chop his ear off. Well, he just told you that they was about to come and do this. Read.
Now they that do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but weak and incorruptible.
Uh-huh.
I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air,
Uh-huh.
but I keep under my body,
But I do what?
but I keep under my body and bring into subjection.
What does it mean to keep under my body? What is he saying right there? Go to the BBE.
Verse 27 in the BBE. But I give blows to my body.
But I do what?
Give blows to my body and keep it under control.
He said, I give blows to my body and keep it under control. A beat down. Because remember, the flesh is not subject to the Most High. So in order to subject your body to the Most High, what you got to do to it? I got to beat it down. Right? I mean, you ain't literally going to be walking around giving yourself body blows, but you understand what it's trying to convey. It says, read that again.
But I give blows to my body and keep it under control, for fear that after having given the good news to others, I myself might not have Elohim's approval.
He said that I don't be somebody that's out here acting a fool and being cast away. That I'm out here telling people that they should do right, and then I am not approved of the Most High. Right? Paul say, I die how many times?
Amen.
Right? How many days have you went without dying? Food for thought, right? If your body is completely subject to itself and don't follow the law of the Most High, how many times have you forgotten to kill it? How many times have you gotten into your flesh or into your body and without giving it that? No, sit down. How many times? This is what you need to ponder on. Because the Most High told us in Haggai 1:7 that we need to do what? Consider. Everything that you do, make sure you think it out first. Like our parents used to always tell you, think before you what? Think before you speak. Think before you act. Think before you do. Right? That's all the Most High telling you to do. Just think. With that, I'll say shalom. Questions, comments, concerns? You loved it, you hate it. Yes, 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. 2 Corinthians 25.
Second Corinthians chapter 10, verse 5. Casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim.
In fact, hold what you got, bro. Pick it up at verse 2.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 2. But I beseech you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence wherewith I think to be bold against some, which think of us as if we walked according to the flesh. But though we walk in the flesh,
though we do what?
Though we walk in the flesh,
though we walk in the flesh, read.
We do not war after the flesh.
Read.
For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal.
The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. What does that mean? What is your weapon? Right? The Messiah, the Ruach. Right? So you have a weapon. But what did he say was like a two-edged sword? The word. That's your weapon. When you go to war, you need what? You need something to attack, and then what else? What else you need? Something for defense, right? So What is your defense? That's your attack. Oh, what you got?
Ephesians 5. Yeah.
Ephesians 6. We're coming back to this. Ephesians 6.
Ephesians chapter 6, verse 10. Finally, my brethren, be strong in the master and in the power of his sight. Put on the whole armor of Elohim, that ye may be able to stand against the wiles of the devil.
The what of the devil?
The wiles of the devil.
What is that wiles right there?
His cunning arts.
His cunning arts, his tricks, his deceit. The same thing that he did with Adam and Eve in the garden. This time you're going to be prepared. All right? Put on the whole armor that you might stand against the wiles of the devil. Verse 12.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood.
The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. Because the book said that the law is what? It's spiritual. Read.
But against principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places.
Read.
Wherefore, take unto you the whole armor of Elohim, that you may be able to withstand the evil day and having done all to stand.
Yeah.
Stand therefore, having your loins girt about with the truth, and having on the breastplate of righteousness.
Say have on the what?
Breastplate of righteousness.
The breastplate of righteousness. Read.
And your feet shod with the preparation of the good news of peace. Above all, taking the shield of faith, wherewith you shall be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one.
And last but not least,
and take the helmet of salvation and the sword of the Ruach, which is the word of Elohim.
The sword is the word. What can penetrate this armor if you got it all on? I watched this movie called Kumo on Netflix. Y'all ever seen it? Kumo, right? So it was this young dude and he was fighting this war against his grandfather and his two aunties. They were wicked, right? And he was subject to attack. He was subject to attack if he didn't have all of this armor on. So once he got all of this armor on, he was like a force field and nothing could get at him. So what happens if you try to only take the word into battle? You can do some attacking, but what? But you open for attack. What if you don't have your feet shod with the gospel of peace? Exactly. What if you don't have your shield of faith? Even though you know the word, if you ain't got the shield of faith on, anybody can say something to you to flip you off. If you're not wearing the helmet of salvation, the shield or the feet being covered, and the sword in your hand won't do you no good. Because you won't be saved. So we need the whole armor, right? Let's go back to the 2 Corinthians 10. Verse 3.
2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 3. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Elohim, to the pulling down of strongholds, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of Elohim, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Hamashiach.
So he said that our weapons ain't carnal, right? We know it's the word now. So now all of these thoughts that enter into your mind that's against the Most High, what you supposed to do with them? Put them into subjection, cast them down. And how do you do that? What do you got to do that? Acknowledge Yah in all your ways. Soon as it come in, I know I said it before, like that little wristband they used to have. What would Jesus do? Right?
What will Mashiach do? What would he do? Is this pleasing? Because if it ain't, you got to go out, right? But yeah, that was a good script. Right? Any more questions? Nothing? One?
Just one.
You can take that one, brother. So you can take that one, brother.
You want me to ask?
Yeah, go ahead. You question, go ahead, Big B.
No, that's what I said.
I'll let my elder, you know what I'm saying? One moment. You looking at it? I know, so what is that? Like you believe or something like that?
Yeah.
It's not technically that awful. You can't be around it. You can't go into the temple of belief. I help you out with this one.
Let's start off.
All right. The question in the chat was, is it unlawful to have sex on the Shabbat? Right. First off, I do want to say this. Before you having any type of sex, you want to be married. All right. Got to make that clear because a lot of people is not clear too. Right. Like my aunt Perry was saying when he was here. Casual sex is running rampant amongst the Israelite community. You know what I'm saying? But to the question, you don't see nowhere in the law where it says that it's against the law for you to have sex on a Shabbat.
That's right.
Right? But, and there is a but. When you're coming into the sanctuary of the believers, the scriptures say that you must be clean. Right? According to Leviticus, when you have sex, it's an unclean act. Right? So if you come amongst the believers after that, and you're touching all of the believers, you're making all of the believers what? Unclean. Right? So yeah.
And you're supposed to forsake not the assembly.
Agreed. And it's safe to forsake not the assembly. So don't purposely do it like, yeah, I just ain't gonna go to them, you know, because you don't want to forsake the assembly.
But not unlawful.
But is it unlawful? No. Will you be stoned for it? No. Will you? It's just, again, you know what I'm saying? Acknowledge the Most High in all your ways. It's kind of like we was talking about earlier. Is it unlawful? No. But if you're acknowledging the Most High and you're saying, I'm just not going to go today because I'm going to fulfill the lust of my flesh. Right? It's up to you. Go ahead. Nah, that was a specific situation.
To make you unclean. You wouldn't be able
Just
to go.
unclean.
Like you said, being unclean is no different than any other type of uncleanness. If you had an issue of blood, or by way of a dead body, or anything that would make you unclean, you wasn't supposed to go amongst into the temple, or like you're saying in this case, amongst the body of believers. So it's not to defile anyone else with uncleanness. So it's not that was because there is something written in the Book of Jubilees that states that having sex with your wife on Sabbath is a sin unto death. However, this is not written. You understand what I'm saying? Right, right. But even that, stating what you're saying in Exodus 19, is saying because they had to before the cloud descended, which means they had to be clean, right?
Most importantly is because the Most High was coming to fellowship. You know what I'm saying? That was like the, you know what I'm saying? Like even when they was going out to war, and the man had to go and do the number two, he couldn't bring himself back into the to the camp where the Most High was dwelling amongst them. You know what I'm saying? Like, look, yeah, you gotta dwell without because the Most High can't dwell in any uncleanliness. So just like in the kingdom to come, right? When he actually come down, it says nothing gonna be unclean in the temple, nothing that defileth in the temple. You know what I'm saying? Well, we talk about a literal thing and a spiritual thing. Now, again, but that's still amongst the believers. You know what I'm saying? So on the Shabbat amongst the believers, you don't want to be in here like that. You know what I mean? But again, it's not thou shalt not.
So, brought out Isaiah 58, of course.
Isaiah 58:4.
No, I said 58 and 13. You know, do your pleasure on the Sabbath.
Oh, yeah. Isaiah chapter 58, verse 13. If you turn away your foot from the Shabbat, from doing your pleasure on my Kodesh day, on my holy day, and call the Sabbath of delight, the Kodesh of Yahuwah, or holy of Yahuwah, honorable, and shall honor him, not doing your own ways, nor finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words. Then you shall delight yourself in Yahuwah, and I will cause you to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed you with the heritage of Jacob your father, for the mouth of Yahuwah has spoken. Isaiah 58 in there? Looking at Isaiah 58 in there? One moment. Is it saying the same thing? Is it saying the same thing? He was looking to see if Isaiah 58 said the same thing. Hallelujah. I don't know what to do with that. Someone for the day of atonement. Someone for the day of atonement. Someone like the Sabbath of Many. Right. I would call that your own pleasure. Yeah. Because in the beginning of the verse, the pleasure is talking about your own. Oh, yeah. The pleasure is talking about making your work on other people and all that. We got anything else in there? One moment, y'all. One moment.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at that pleasure is talking about having people work for you. Like we said in the beginning of the chapter. Check it out. So it says, cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice, It says that they seek you, they Here we go. Why have you fasted and you've not seen? Why have you afflicted our beings and you took no note? Look, in the day of your fasting, you find pleasure and dry on all your labors. So he's saying that you find pleasure by driving on your labors. You know what I'm saying? So when he said not doing your own pleasure, like you still doing what you want to do on this. Makes sense?
I don't know if this is talking about that stuff that's that's all.
Okay, I got you.
It's that he's saying the whole that's giving a command to the prophets. This right here is not, I don't believe it's for everybody.
Right. Specifically to the prophet. Right. And this is telling him.
Then not speak your own words and not do your
Yeah.
That's I think it is.
Yeah. That makes sense. What's up, Bob? Right.
That you can be a light to them. That you can be a light to them.
Exactly. So, you get, what I'm saying, you get weary in that, what I'm saying, and just don't even associate, what I'm saying, yourself with unbelievers, what I'm saying. They believers, they're not unbelievers, they're believers, but it's just,
they don't believe how you believe. They don't believe how you believe.
Exactly. You try to kick it to them, like, look, it can be found. I mean, most times it's found. You know what I'm saying? Talk about, but, just read, what I'm saying, the scripture about belief, what I'm saying, even when Peter was flawed out, what I'm saying, like his faith wavered, what I'm saying, so it allowed him to see. So he started getting his flesh, what I'm saying, his flesh started to take over. So on a daily basis, without having, what I'm saying, the understanding to, or even know that there'll be, at one point they'll believe, they'll believe, they'll have that same faith, you still like, you water, so you still gonna doubt, what I'm saying, that they don't have that same type of faith, what I'm saying, that you're dealing with it every day, so when do you kind of like cut ties, you know what I mean?
Cut ties.
You can speak scripture, tell them, you can talk with them, and sometimes, they, people get, what I'm saying, have rebuttal when they rebel, so pretty much you're talking at them, you know what I'm saying, and it ain't really effective. So the question is, like, what is it, that weariness, it wears you down to a certain point, you know what I'm saying, when you're dealing with, way too much, you know what I'm saying, and I'm like, no, I'm just going, y'all deal with y'all, you know what I mean, back up, then, then you bag out, you know what I'm saying, you
guess you get into issue with it. Start feeling like, it's too much. You know what I'm saying? So at the point of when you just
Cut it short.
cut ties, like, you know what I mean? But these people I've known for years, family, whatever, you know what I mean?
The first thing I would say is don't put your faith in them believing. You know what I'm saying? If you spread the seed, you can't say, well, I know if I be diligent, one day you'll believe like me. But that wasn't even the job of the prophets. I need you to go out there and say what I told you to say. Do what I told you to do. Whoever come on after that, that's on them.
You got manipulation, in the months of all that. You know what I'm saying? We, hey, have faith, just don't let's believe, You know what I'm saying? And you got, one of the elders, you know what I'm saying? You need to be respected, and it is respected, you know what I'm saying? Constantly shoot arrows, fire on them with boys. I'm like, how did that catch on fire? Like, the elder, like, shoot arrow, you know what I'm saying? Like, that manipulation is strong. So it's like, that's when I think you got to cut ties, but that person might say they believe, but words, it's just, it's just pleasure, but actions,
But the thing is, when you're talking about faith, right? Like what Travis is saying, your faith is not based on them getting it. Your faith is in the Most High, right? So your job as being like the light to these people is to just plant seeds. The scriptures say, one man plant, another man water, y'all supply the increase. You got to plant the seed. You plant the seed, and when you plant seed, if you stand there and watch it, it feel like it don't never grow. When you plant the seed, it's there, and then the water will be provided elsewhere. But you got to have faith that the Most High, He gonna do what He's supposed to do. But the fact of the matter is that everybody don't get it. The scriptures say that sometimes the seed fall among stony ground, and it's not received at all. And sometimes the enemy come away and they snatch it up. But it's not your job. Your job is to just plant it. Regardless of what type of ground it fall on, plant it. You know what I mean? And so the scripture also say, don't be weary in well doing. So if it's becoming tiresome or burdensome, then you got to know when to step back in order to be refreshed. And eventually what happens, in my experience, is what happens is when you plant seeds and you maintain the course, people will start to approach you. And then, because that's all I would do is just plant a seed, and then I maintain the course, and I don't force feed nothing to nobody. And eventually they'll be asking me, I mean, I see you be talking, or I see, and then that's when you open the door. I'm gonna go ahead and, but if it becomes a point of contention, then you got to know, like, because
Yeah, that was pretty much, I was just setting up a scenario. You know what I'm saying? That a short story of what's going on, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's time that I fall back because it's I'm weary of it. You know what I'm saying? And it's out of love, but it's fam, it's people I know, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's like that anchor and shit. You feel me?
Yeah.
It's like, make me down, man. Like everybody plugged in. You know what I mean? Like, all right, this circuit's closed. You know what I'm saying right now? I gotta,
Take you a breather, brother.
It's like me. I used to feel like I'm going to say something today. I'm going to come up with something today that's clever enough, and I'm going to reel them in, and they're going to get it. Right? I always used to think it. But it ain't my job to make them believe. You know what I'm saying? We can't make nobody believe absolutely nothing. When you open this book up and we read it and it's in black and white and you see it and you don't get it, beforehand, I'm going to stay here and argue with you for 3 hours lose my voice. It's right there, Rick. Waste of time. Show it to them, like Mashiach say, dust your feet off, keep it moving. You know what I'm saying? Like he said, plant the seed. They'll come back. If you really sincere about what you're doing, and they see you don't waver, but the minute they catch you wavering on something,
You know, your head.
I knew it.
Thought you was
I
one of
knew
them
it.
Israelite
Right.
people.
You
That's y'all
supposed to be.
Yep.
Exactly. So don't waver. All your job is to do is to show it to them, maybe once or twice. After that, keep it moving. It'll keep the gray hair away. It'll keep the peace away. It'll keep your peace. It'll keep you feeling sane and you don't feel drained no more. You know what I'm saying? I've done this stuff. Argued 500, 700, 1,000 comments over 5-6 days. We going back and forth. I'm on the phone losing my voice. They still walked away believing what they believe. That's what I just wasted my time. You know what I'm saying? They mad at me because I ain't coming in there to eat. Yo, food ready. I'm coming. Get me Leviticus chapter this. Let's go there. Read. It's right there. Man, you stupid. You don't want to get it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I don't do none of that no more. Show it to you. When I know you got it, I'm done. I'm done with it. You know what I'm saying? But that little thing inside of us makes us want to keep going. That little P word that I always be talking
You
about.
gonna get this work. You gonna get this work. You gonna force it.
Makes us, I know I'm going to get him. No.
Yep. The whole time before you go back to him, you like, I remember he said this last time. Watch, I'm gonna take this over there this time. I'm gonna say this time. Then y'all arguing, and they over there chilling, and you in the uproar. You know what I'm saying? You upset. They going to bed happy. Man, boy, stupid, man. And you like, oh, they just won't get it. For nothing.
I mean, look at it. Mashiach walked the earth himself, right? They didn't get it from him. Who are we? If they didn't take it from him, who are we that's going to make these people get it? Just got to look at that. Mashiach walking himself, they still denied it, right?
All good. That's it. That's it.
We good? All right, let's pray out so y'all get some of this good food. Hey, I couldn't wait on y'all. People sitting in seats for 3 hours.
Hurt their butts.
Man, people's butts is hurting. Their stomachs is hurting. Y'all sitting up in there preaching.
He's watching right down there. He talking about me.
For those of y'all that don't know, when we pray out, we're going to say a prayer, and then we're going to say the Our Father in Hebrew. The one that's in Matthew 6, we're going to say it in Hebrew, so it's not no seance type stuff. It ain't no, Shaka Zulu, you know what I'm saying? It's Hebrew.
You know, one quick announcement before we pray out. If still we got the gathering going on next month. If you want to pay your registration, you can pay it to Sister Wanda, to Sister Sakari, give it to them directly rather than going through an Eventbrite because it'll charge you a little bit more. I thought I made that announcement, but maybe I didn't. And then also, if you want to purchase when you purchase your shirts, do the same thing. Hand it to me, or one of the sisters or something like that, directly. So that way, you won't charge you more on Eventbrite. And I got the form up here, the order form. So if you haven't put your sizes down, please do so. I'll be sitting up here with the laptop, putting everybody's size in. I need to get them ASAP. All right. All right. Father God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your word, Father, that it went forth, Father. We pray, Father, that it would fall on the soft ground of our hearts, Father, that it would be able to grow into something mighty, Father, be planted, Father. You will supply the increase, Father. Allow it to be applied in our lives, Father. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that we would, in all our ways, Father, acknowledge you, Father, and allow you to make our path straight and direct us down that straight and narrow path, Father. We thank you for just family and for fellowship, Father. We pray and ask that you would continue to strengthen relationships, Father, as you see fit, Father. We pray and ask that you would continue to break any bonds, Father, that are unfit, Father. We pray and ask, Father, that you would just continue to walk with us, Father, as we press towards you, Father, that we would be diligent, Father, in our studies and in our teaching of our own children, Father, to know your ways, Father, and your law, Father. Father, we pray and ask, Father, that you would just allow us to be used as vessels for your word to flow through, that we may speak a word of power and strength to someone who may not know of your marvelous life, Father, that you would call them out of darkness, Father, according to your will and your way. We thank you for your Ruach, Father. We ask that you would just continue to be with us on a daily basis as we walk through this world, Father. Father, all these things we pray and we give thanks. So be it. Avinu Shabbat Shemaim. Ikadosh. Shenka. Tabo. Bakuka. Yeyase. Ratzonka. Baritz. Kasher. Nasha. Bashemaim. Tang Anu. Hayom. Nikim. Kikanu. Usla. Lanu. Eight. Ashmatenu. Kasher. Suki. Anaku. Lasher. Ashmu. Ranu. Waral. Talunu. Nede. Nasa. Ki. E. Kasalanu. Mi. Kara. Ki. Laka. Amam Laka. Wahi Bura. Wati Fare. Lobe. Ulabi. So be it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hey. What's up, bro? You've been outside a lot this summer. Real chocolate. Real chocolate.